unmute. Okay, hello. You mean to tell me I got on here and did all of that and nobody heard me? Darn it. Okay. Thank you, Arlita. Welcome in. Welcome in. It is medical talk in layman's terms with Nurse Charlene, and the topic is personal hygiene. I don't know how that happened, you guys, and stuff, but it looked like I've been muted and stuff. So I'm going to try to go over things real quickly and stuff and just get to the good part. All right. I'm on now. Shoot. And stuff. So the definition, this is part two. So last week I did part one and stuff. So it's a personal hygiene. And personal hygiene involves keeping all parts of the external body clean, including skin, hair, nails, teeth, and intimate areas. And this is for a man and a woman and everything. Also, other activities of personal hygiene include bathing, and bathing means bathing or showering and everything. Then also hand washing, and hand washing is just all day long and everything. So you know about that. And then oral care. Yeah, we got to brush our teeth. And if we ain't brushing our teeth, we got to rinse our mouth and then, brush them dentures too. Okay, thank you, Josie. Y'all got to tell me and stuff. Sometimes, it do its own little thing. The devil is a lie. But anyway,
Yeah.
yes, and stuff. So also oral care, and wearing clean clothes. Yeah, we can't sleep on that and everything. Okay, I'm putting somebody else on and stuff. So let's see. We go right to it. Now you can hear me and stuff. So yeah, hey. Okay. That's all right. It's spicy tonight. It's just spicy. And so okay, you gotta go in there because I can hear myself talking. Okay. So okay, that's my mama. I love her. But so we're doing pros and cons of shower. So I'm just gonna run through them because I had already been talking and stuff, but nobody could hear me. Now you guys can, and that's cool and stuff. So we got pros of a shower is it's faster and convenient. Take about 5 to 10 minutes, more on the 5 minute side. And first thing in the morning, jump in the shower, get energized and stuff. So then it's more hygienic because they say the water, you soap up and then the water goes down the drain, so it's not on you. So they, people think it's more hygienic, and it probably is in its own way. And then also eco-friendlier. You're not wasting a bunch of water getting a shower because you're supposed to be in here with about 5, no longer than 10 minutes, depending on why you're in the shower. Sometimes you're stressed out and you just need that hot water, and stuff like that. Welcome on in, you guys. This is definitely interactive, and I can see your comments and stuff. So I appreciate you guys and everything and stuff. And then it's energizing. So these are the pros of a shower. The cons of a shower: it can be drying to your skin. It can dry you out and stuff like that and stuff. So that's one, um, definitely and stuff. And then there's it's not as relaxing as a bath because the bath you sitting down, you got some bubbles. Some people make a whole ritual of it, put a candle there and stuff. Aromatherapy. You could pour oils into the water, the bath water and stuff like that, and feel like you really doing something big, and stuff like that. So I get that. This is cons of a shower. It's not a bath. It's not as relaxing. You're getting in, you're doing a chore, as opposed to the other thing and stuff. So for a bath, the pros are it's relaxing and therapeutic. Like I said, getting your bubble bath. You might bring in, a beverage, whatever that may be. I'm not here to judge and stuff, but you might bring in a beverage, you might have some candles, and stuff like that. It depends on what you're getting in the bath for, and everything. Also, it's a good skin treatment. So I was saying that earlier and stuff. That would be your uh Epsom salt, your bath oil. I know everybody done heard of Skin So Soft, and stuff like that. You got that. You got it was another one. I think it's by Neutrogena. It's like rain bath or something like that. You could drop the little oils in, and so the oils are boiling with your skin. Because I'll say it in a minute. I boil myself, and stuff like that. I put hot water in there as hot as I could stand it and stuff, and which will dry my skin out. But then guess what? You got the opportunity to put a little bit of oil in there in the water. You could put coconut oil and different things and stuff, and that kind of penetrates into your skin, so you're not actually drying your skin off. And then I'll tell you the other parts to that to help you, whether it's a shower or a bath. But I'm saying the pros of a tub bath and stuff. So you got the skin treatments for your skin and stuff. It warms you up on a cold day if it's, a rainy season or winter season and stuff, and it's cold outside and stuff. You get in a nice bath, and then you put all your little snuggly stuff on and jump on in the bed and stuff. It helps you sleep, and stuff like that. So these are pros of a bath. Also, tension reducer. You could drop your Epsom salts, and those are bath soaks that help tired muscles and stuff like that. Stressful days, you carry your stress in your shoulders. I Wow. But anyway, you carry your stress in your shoulders and different things like that. So it's a lot of that stuff. I wonder why it's doing that. Okay. It's just showing you guys its comments and everything. I didn't know that was there. Right there. Yeah, it's not showing. Yeah. But anyway, also the cons of a bathtub, bath and everything. And that means you're using more water because you fill it up. You don't want an inch of water in there and you try to take a bath and soak and stuff. So, you're filling up the tub. So you're using a lot more water than you would for a shower and stuff. It's time consuming because you got to get it ready and prep. You got to wash out the bathtub, or at least I hope you do. Please be washing out the bathtub before you get in. And that's if you have if it's not separated by a shower by itself and a bathtub by itself. You wash out the bathtub, and stuff, and then you put your water in and stuff, so you have fairly clean water, or quote unquote clean water and stuff like that. Then what else is there as far as cons? It's less hygienic, but anyway, it's less hygienic because you're soaking in your own fluids, and stuff like that. Don't pee in the tub. Don't pee in the water and stuff like that. You use the bathroom first, then you get in, wipe, and then you get in and stuff and soak and everything. But everybody knows that. But just in case, because we are talking about layman's terms and everything and stuff. And so that's the other thing. It's less hygienic because you're soaking in your own dirt and sweat. It still could get on you anyway and stuff like that. I still say that I think it's super hygienic and stuff. It just depends on what you put in the water and what you use on your body and everything. And then rinsing yourself off after will take care of that less hygienic, just making sure you rinse down really good and stuff. And you're good to go and everything. So, which is best? So I added this to it and everything because it's like, which is best? So I'm going to give you a situation and then what's the best thing for it? A shower or a bath? Because I want to, really get into this because we're talking about personal hygiene. And one of the biggest personal hygienes is, do you bathe of any kind and everything? Yes. Rosie Granny Allen said, first of all, that she's watching and bless you. Thank you. Bless you also. And you said Dr. Teal is stress and relaxing is okay. Absolutely, Dr. Teal. I don't know what kinds are out there. And until Dr. Teal or whatever other places start paying me for it and stuff, we ain't gonna give all their names out and stuff because we do not own the rights to them. But if y'all want to pay me, y'all let me know and we could get some commercial stuff going and everything and stuff. But in the meantime, Epsom salt in general and everything. So So that in general and stuff, and different brands and stuff like that. It's not exactly about the brand unless I'm highlighting my own store and stuff. And we have a lot of good stuff, and everything. And that will be coming in time. So you'll get to see some of my items out of my store, which are top tier brands and stuff like that. And I'll kind of introduce them little by little on different podcasts. All right, you guys. So I said that we were going to do a situation, just a little fun fact. You're in a rush. What do you do? Shower or bathe? So, okay. So I just left a question, just in case you want to chime in, but it is to shower, and stuff, because you're in a rush. You can't sit there and run a whole tub full of water and then try to get in and soak and relax and stuff. That's for somebody that plans it out and everything and stuff. So it would be the shower. Okay, situation. You're stressed and very sore. A hot shower or hot bath? So the answer would be a hot bath, because you want to pour Epsom salt. It doesn't matter the brand, Epsom salt. And it's good to have like lavenders and stuff because they calm you. You're stressed and sore. You worked out and you might have pulled a couple muscles, ripped a couple muscles and stuff like that. So that's why a bath would be better in that case. Another situation, you want to save water because your water bill is high. You pay water and stuff and your water bill is high. How can you save water? Because is it a shower that might save water, or is it a bath? We know it's a shower that saves the water. So if you want to save water, you take the shower. It's quicker. It's less gallons, maybe 1 gallon to 3 gallons of, in the bathtub and everything. Another situation, you want a self-care ritual, meaning you want to sit back and treat yourself and get that aromatherapy, get that treatment, that skin treatment and stuff. Are you taking a shower or a bath? We're going to take a bath, because then we can throw in that Epsom salt for stress, but also for sore muscles from stressing, or doing something stressful during the day. But also, you got the beautiful bath oils. We'll just say bath oils, and the different brands, and they have these wonderful smells and stuff. And that's it makes you feel so much better, getting out the tub and you're nice and fresh. Your skin is soft and everything from putting those things on your skin and everything and stuff. I say it's a winner and everything. And then it's self-care. So self-care means you're doing something to treat your mental. So it's holistic, and stuff. It's your mental, your physical being sore and everything, your mental being calm and relaxed and ready for bed after, and stuff like that and stuff. So all those things all put together. And then there's some other conditions if you didn't take a bath or shower, ever, and stuff like that. Or this is a part of personal hygiene. So when I'm saying this to visit the hygiene part of personal hygiene, which is a common thing we get on our feet, would be like an athlete's feet. So it's not, even though it says athlete's feet, that's because they noticed it more in the athlete, type person. That's, that could be from volleyball to basketball. That could be from football to softball, for a woman, or whatever it might be and stuff. Women play basketball also. And I don't know if men play volleyball, but it's football, it's soccer, it doesn't matter and stuff. Anything that works up a sweat, because guess what? Sweat is your enemy. It helps you, like when you're hot and you're burning up and you're in a game and stuff and you're sweating and it's sweat coming down your neck and stuff, and it's supposed to kind of cool you down a little bit, because you're so hot from being excited, all your endorphins are going crazy and everything and stuff like that. And so good evening, Sandra. Everything is going crazy on you. So you're sweating. And then sweat feels good when the air is hitting you and stuff like that, and it kind of cools you down. Get that sweat off of you. Sweat ain't no good. You know what's in sweat? Bacteria. You know some bacteria? It make you stink. That's what it is. So sweat ain't no little heavenly thing and stuff. Sweat, when that stuff come out your pores and stuff, it's releasing dirt and sweat, dirt, and bacteria. So if you leave it on there and you go sit down, you ain't took no shower and stuff, you just sitting there, guess what you is? Is there a medical term for funky? It's called body odor or funky, whichever one y'all want to use and stuff like that. But that's what that is. And that's sweat is one of the is 99.9% of all our problems. All our problems, the rash, the jock itch, the athlete's feet, the whatever you could think of and stuff, sweat did it, and stuff. So everybody, let's say we hate sweat because sweat it gives us problems. That's what that's all about. So I'm talking about athlete's feet and stuff. So it's a common foot problem with athlete's feet, because guess what? Your feet sweat when you're a construction worker, whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter and stuff. Both y'all could get the athlete's feet and stuff. It's equal opportunity. It doesn't care which one, just as long as you got some feet and stuff. But this is the part that's the tricky part. You put on them fresh, nice, cushiony socks because you're gonna be on your feet all day long and stuff like that. You put them on and stuff, and then you put on your little steel toe boots or whatever and stuff like that. So now they all bunched up and they all warm up in there, and stuff. You walking around, your dogs is aching because you walking around. You got the nice cotton socks. I hope you got cotton socks. You ain't gonna wear church socks and stuff. And you put them little socks on and everything and stuff. And then you got them boots and they laced up all the way past your ankle and stuff like that and stuff. Keep you all safe and everything. Steel toe at that. So they giving the extra incubation, on there and stuff, which means they're keeping them nice and warm and sweaty. And what I say sweat was, that's that they go rogue after a while. They spoil like milk, and stuff. And that's when you get you some little cheese funyun feet, and stuff like that, because the sweat is the problem. That's your body odor and stuff like that, believe it or not. But they sweating and stuff. They might be dry by the time you get home. But them some stinky socks, probably. You probably be like, who wore my socks besides me? And stuff. You don't even want to claim them, and stuff, because they stink, and stuff. And that's why you gotta wear, if any person, man or woman, has had this problem and stuff, you got to make sure that you getting these antifungals on there, and stuff like that. You got to keep your feet dry. So sometimes they recommend the powder. They got antifungal powders, and different kinds. I'm not going to say the names of them because I want commercials, so I'll wait, and stuff. But fungal powders and stuff, and you'll find those in that aisle. And it's up to you which brand you pick and everything and stuff. But you put that powder down there and stuff because they want you to keep it dry like a baby's bottom. What happens if the baby is always wet and that pee stays on in that diaper and stuff on them? They even got the diapers where they try to pull it away, pull the moisture away. But even if you keep the diaper on too long, they're gonna get a rash. You're gonna get athlete's feet, and stuff. It's the sweat. It's warm in there and stuff. It's wet. It's murky, and stuff. So that's the reason behind athlete's feet. So then to treat it, you would have to have antifungal creams versus powders. You need clean socks every single day. Never put on the same socks. You wash them bad boys out and hope that they dry before, and stuff. And you should have more. You should have a pack of socks where you can wear them daily, and stuff like that, and wash them, daily if you have the facilities. But you also need to change them and have a clean pair on, because the old sweaty pair, now you putting that bacteria on your fresh feet or some possibly after taking a shower and stuff like that, and then you're going to get the same, but you're going to have it on steroids. And then why are my feet always stinking? Because you always sweating, and if you wore the same socks and stuff, it's going to be a problem. It's going to see you about it. Okay. And stuff. And so some of the symptoms that you got athlete's feet: red, scaly skin, is itching, it's peeling, they have an odor to them, it's cracked blister skin. That got to be horrible. And you got to walk on them things, and they all breathing like Godzilla on them. They inflame, they on fire, they burn, they itch, they sting. And then the sweat is coming out of them and stuff, and so it's stinging some more. And oh no, you see where that's a problem? So it's athlete's feet. You can actually get rid of it, but guess what? You got to actually take care of your feet to get to the other side. Okay, so that's just that one. And then, like I said, antifungal powders and creams and ointments and stuff like that, keeping them washed and fresh and dry and stuff, it'll go away. It actually is hope for you and stuff. It'll go away. It's hope for me if I had it, and stuff like that. And then, watching your socks. You want socks that are not constricting. If you're in that environment where you got to be on your feet all day long, it hurts. A security guard, a construction worker, even the guys' basketball shoes and stuff. Why you think they put the basketball shoes outside on the porch? Because them bad boys is rough. Changing the insoles in your basketball shoes, getting better soles in there. Jordans ain't just for Jordan. You got to have something in there, to help you along the way and stuff. So that's what I'm talking about, you guys. Welcome to Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. And the topic this evening is personal hygienes part 2 to a 2-part series that I did. Rosetta Granny Allen said baking soda or powder in your shoes, yes, and nothing talcum, because they had the big cancer scare with that and stuff. So it's not talcum powder. You need to use cornstarch based powders and stuff to keep you dry. Even on a baby's bottom, I'm just trying to think of a baby's bottom. The best way to keep them dry and stuff like that is the best way to keep you dry, and stuff like that, because you got to treat them like a baby's bottom, or you ain't gonna be able to walk on them. You're gonna be miserable every day and stuff. They're painful. It just gets worse from there unless you start bringing it back to the other side, and there is healing in it. Thank you, Rosie Granny Allen and stuff. So then there's also some home remedies. I don't want you guys to sleep on these because they help, and they've been helping for years, before we had all the fancy medicines at the Walgreens or whatever, the pharmacy, CVS or something. Is tea tree oil. It's antifungal. It's good for your scalp and your hair and itchy scalp and stuff like that for men or women, but it's also good for athlete's feet, and putting that on there. And it smells pretty good, pleasant, so that'll help with that smell of cheesy feet, from athlete's feet that give you odor. And then sometimes the vinegar, apple cider vinegar soap, where it's 1 part vinegar and 2 parts water. So for every cup of vinegar, you got to put 2 cups of water, to it and stuff. But soaking them in there and stuff like that, that tends to help out. This is after you have athlete's feet, or if you suspect that you're getting it, you could do this and stuff and kind of help, speed up the healing process. Because all you have to do is heal to get over it and everything. And then also, Rosetta Granny Allen said, baking soda. It says baking soda to keep it dry and stuff. You want to keep them dry and stuff, and that's the only way, because it absorbs water, which is your sweat, and odor and stuff like that. So it's doing a couple things. So that was mainly for the men-ish, but it's also women that do men's jobs also and stuff. So it's for you too, athletes and all and stuff. Then they have one called the under boob rash for the women. We get we get up there and we get us some nice little hello Tony, welcome on in. I missed you all this time. Come on in, baby, and stuff. So we got under boob rash we're talking about and stuff. And that also it's a term for it. I said boob so that you know it's under the big ones up in the front and stuff, but it's called intertrigo or candida rash, which means fungal rash under your boobs and stuff. And so on the last one, a young lady named Maria was telling me that as she was breastfeeding her baby, some of the milk would drip up under there, and if she didn't go and wash up after breastfeeding the baby and stuff, and the milk getting under there, it caused her to get a rash and stuff. So that's a big deal. Yeah. Okay. Pastor Mayfield said under the breast. Yeah. Okay. Under the breast, under the boobs. You know, for anybody that looks at them as boobs, under the my Spanish word pechos and stuff under there and stuff. And that's Spanish. I don't know. Somebody taught me that. Yes, yes. Thank you and stuff. But yeah, you know, it got many names to everything, you know, and stuff like that. So definitely now we about to turn up. Come on in, y'all, and turn up for me and stuff. I like that when we get turned up because then I start really talking. If you didn't think I was talking yet and stuff. But
Woo!
under the boob rash is inflammatory skin condition where it's, you know, it's under the warm moist areas. Anybody can, you know, because men have kind of saggy chest material, so they end up with like under the breast, you know, and stuff. They're not breast, they're chest area, you know, and stuff like that. And so it's where you have rolls, you know. Some of us we get a little extra, you know, meat on our bones, I call it, you know, and stuff. So you might have a little roll or two. You got to check them because that little roll, it might be innocent. And next thing you know, you got a whole little sore there. It's all inflamed. It hurts and stuff. And when it starts stinging and stuff, it hardly is no coming back from it, you know, and stuff. It's really rough to deal with, you know, and stuff like that. So this is definitely something serious, but these are some of the top tier ones and stuff. And that would be inflammation, and it's usually in the warm areas and stuff, but also don't sleep on the fact that it gets fungus, and fungus is so hard to get rid of. It's quick to come and stuff. Yes, Pastor Mayfield said right, keep it dry and clean. Absolutely, keep it dry and clean because yeah, it's a problem. And once it start breaking out and the skin starts splitting, it sting like the dickens, like 1,000 needles going into wherever it's at, you know, and stuff like that. And it hurts. It feels like if anybody's ever had a rug burn, you know, and stuff like that, it's that shiny slick. Oh my God. It's painful. I'll just tell you that and stuff. And it's no joke. And it actually smells just like I talked about athlete's feet and everything. It actually smells. Yes. Welcome on in, Miss Kathy and stuff. You said, what about the navel? Absolutely. Everybody sleeps on it, but I'm telling you, you got to go in there. If you got an actual navel, you know, that little tunnel and stuff, it kind of burrows in, you know, it's all folded up so you can't tell. You just see a navel, you know, a navel hole, you know, and stuff like that. But you got it burrows down in there and stuff. It goes deep, you know, and stuff. So you got to get in there and get you a little Q-tip and a little bit of oil and stuff and go in there and kind of clean it out and stuff. You would almost think I was crazy. I didn't even know that you're supposed to do that and stuff, but I naturally always was interested in my belly button and stuff. So I would go in there. Yes, you can dust it with baking soda. That's good and stuff. Just as long as you're taking regular baths, because the baking soda could get caked up in there, but it's okay because it's absorbing sweat and stuff. Because when you sweat, it doesn't say where it's gonna go. It's gonna go where it want to go, you know, and stuff. It's sneaky. It's betraying and stuff. So it'll go up in there, and off in your navel and stuff, in places that most people neglect and stuff. But if you've ever went in there and you've never went in there or something like that, oh my God, you'll find so many presents and stuff in there and stuff. Dust mites, lint, that's it, lint in there and stuff. So could you imagine that? And it's staying in there from your clothes that you had on 2 or 3, and stuff, and then it just gets dislodged in there. So that's a good thing and stuff. Thank you, Kathy, for that. And yes, Pastor Mayfield and stuff. It's good to know, because that's what I'm giving you, stuff that's good to know. So it's not just your regular old basic personal hygiene. We're talking about the teeth and everything, but why do we need our teeth? Because if we want to digest our food, we actually need a couple chompers, up in our mouth. If we're losing them, which I'm victim of losing my teeth, and stuff like that. Bad root canals that just went awry, and stuff, because we needed to be doing that toothbrushing, brushing your teeth once in the morning before you start putting food on them to protect them, because they have different enamels and stuff on them. They got all these fancy things, but you got to actually brush your teeth to put it on there. And one more note about that, just while I was on the subject of that, is that when you brush your teeth, I found out you're not supposed to take, you brush your teeth real good, you get all in there and stuff, and you try to do it in a circular motion. If you got an electric toothbrush, you're even ahead of the game and stuff. But once you do that regular toothbrush or electric and stuff, then guess what? You spit out the excess toothpaste, but you don't rinse your mouth. You want that on there because it has to have time to penetrate your teeth. So you're not supposed to spit out the toothpaste. You're supposed to spit out the excess, saliva and everything and stuff, but not really rinse your mouth, because you're spitting out the good fluoride that's in the toothpaste that's supposed to stay on your teeth. When you rinse it off, you're rinsing it all off of your teeth, and it doesn't penetrate into your teeth. And then this is the other thing. The mouthwash is for before, mostly before and stuff. And that's because you take the mouthwash and you put it in there, and that's a pre-cleaner to loosen up tartar on your teeth. The yellow stuff, the cavity makers, and stuff like that. So you need something to kind of loosen it up first, and then you brush your teeth. And then once you brush your teeth, your mouth and a little bit of water on your toothbrush with the toothpaste and stuff, that'll gather together your saliva and all of that stuff. And then you spit it out, but you don't rinse it out. Because when we rinse it out, we rinse it off all that good toothpaste that we paid $1 million for a tube and stuff. So does that make sense, you guys? I'm really researching this stuff. That's why I'm not coming here with no half stepping and stuff. I'm really, coming here to give you the good part. But guess who learning too? Yeah, I'm learning too. So now I'm like, oh, that's why you do this. And if you use those special Sensodynes, they're expensive and everything and stuff like that. But they're also they actually put dentin back in your teeth. And there is a such thing, and I'm going to research it before I give you the whole thing on it, but there is a such thing where I'm going to give you some information about you do actually grow back. Your teeth can actually heal their self. The teeth that you got still and stuff. Now, you don't grow back your teeth like that and stuff, but I think you can kind of and stuff. But I'm going to go into the research on that, but I've already been looking it up and stuff. So I'm going to have a whole podcast on just that, so that we can learn this stuff, because the more we learn, we become in the know. And so when somebody say something to us, you can't put nothing past us. We know what we know. Yes, Kathy. Exactly that. Yes. And stuff. So then I was telling you about the under boob rash, and I was telling you it's red and itchy and inflamed. It gets fungal. It starts stinking like an athlete's feet, when you got sweaty, scaly skin on your feet and stuff. It's the same and stuff, and it does the same thing. And guess what you got to do? Keep it clean, because sweat is not keeping it clean. Sweat is not cooling it off. It's actually going to make it flame up on you and stuff like that. So sweat needs to go, because sweat carries the bacteria and puts it on the outside of your skin. And then that's where you get the fungal and the yeast rash and all of that type of stuff. It's from sweat. Sweat is mean, but we need to sweat in order to live and stuff. But we need to wash it off. So if that makes sense and stuff, that's what I'm trying to say about it. If your skin is moist, it's not a good thing for skin. Skin is allergic to moist and stuff, so it's going to give you a problem. And did not say your body is a snitch. Believe it. So if you're sweating under there, guess what? You don't catch it a couple times. The summer is coming. You're going to be sweating just naturally off the nice, fresh, sunny sky and everything and stuff. And guess what? You don't catch that in time. You don't wear those, those cotton bras and stuff like that for women and stuff like that, or them cotton socks for men that are breathable and stuff. Guess what? You're going to be itching. I love saying itching, but anyway, you're going to be itching and stuff. It's actually really a thing. You're going to be itching and stuff. And that means your body is snitching. If you're itching, it's snitching. If you got a headache, it's snitching. It's, everything that we do. If you're sore, your back is sore, your arm is sore, your legs are sore, it's telling on you. Yes, soak me, please, and stuff like that. That's where all this is coming from. Okay. So then there's treatments for it and stuff. They got nice to 10 powders and creams, for under the boob rash, and stuff like that. Also, barrier creams like diaper rash formula. Because remember, I kept on saying like a baby's bottom. You want to keep it dry or they get a diaper rash. You want to keep under your boobs dry. You want to keep your feet in between your toes dry, because you're going to be itching and burning and all the other good stuff that comes with it. And it actually has a nerve to stink also. And those are your intimate areas. You don't want them stinking, and stuff. If you, take care of yourself, and everything. They also have hydrocortisone, which is a steroid. That's all I can tell you right now, because for time purposes and stuff, but it's a steroid, and it's for the inflammation of your skin to kind of cool it down so that you heal. Because guess what? If you got any of these things, you're not healed. You're actually in the middle of whatever it is, and stuff like that. I want to do honorable mentions, and that would be your jock itch, which is our intrigo or under the breast rash and stuff like that. Jock itch is just that and stuff. And some of the treatments and stuff like that is, there's home remedies like apple cider vinegar diluted, 1 part apple cider vinegar, 2 parts of water. With everything you do, whether it's a foot soak, whether it's just wiping your skin down and stuff and treating your skin and stuff like that. Good things to use is coconut oil. It doesn't have a smell most of the time, but using these oils, using these different things and stuff on your skin will really go a long way and everything. A lot of antifungals, for men, mainly men, but women also and stuff. Tea tree. And the tea tree oil, it actually is another one for your hair, for dandruff, itchy scalp, and stuff like that. So that's men or women, and stuff like that. But for the jock itch area and stuff, it helps, and stuff. We also got a little special package between our 2 butt cheeks. There's what they call the crack, and stuff, or that little slit down the middle and stuff. That also, we got to make sure that we're taking care of it, because if you're going to do hygiene, which we're talking about personal hygiene, you got to take care of that too. So guess what? Even though we don't really see it because we're just wiping the bottom where our rectum is, after a bowel movement or something like that, we're sleeping on that and stuff. So you need to make sure that you're making sure the soap goes in between there also and stuff. It needs to be fresh and clean and dry, or guess what? You're gonna be itching and burning and stuff, because it'll act up too and stuff. Sweat goes back there and stuff. So anywhere that there could be sweat, under your cheeks and stuff, men or women, and stuff right there by your butt, the two boop boop, that little part and stuff like that under there. You got to get all these crevices. Absolutely. Tony said, Antoinette said, it means dry off good when getting out the shower. It absolutely means that, like, you got to really take that time, and sometimes you might need to dust, if you got a little more than others, and stuff, and even the ones that don't have that much and stuff. Yeah, dry your ass. Yeah, basically that's it in a nutshell. Dry your behind, your ASS and stuff. Dry it and stuff, or you gonna be itching and burning. I'm gonna tell you that now and stuff. And then there's a lot of treatments for it and stuff, and that's good, and all and stuff. And the other thing is, I wanted to move on to, that's just your skin. So anywhere that sweat can occur under your underarm, that's why they call it musty. You musty, you smell like onion. Yeah, you sweated under there and you didn't clean it up. So guess what? It's gonna be like, hey, I got a little party under here. You gonna find out. Yeah, yeah, you gonna find out. Your body is a snitch. Didn't that girl say that? And stuff like, yeah. Welcome to Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene, and the topic is personal hygiene, part 2. Just kind of brushing over the stuff that we went over last week, but I wanted to get some more in there, so I just added a couple things. And remember, you can watch the replay after I go off live. You just won't get to talk directly to me and stuff, but you'll get to watch the replay and go over the things and stuff. And then also, once you watch the replay, if you have questions still, I'm going to go over and read all the responses and either like them or whatever I do and stuff like that. But if there's a question there, I'm going to put an answer, so that you can go back and look at it. And you'll see, because I'll tag you to it if you ask the question. But just feel free to go back over the answers and stuff. It'll be some really good stuff in there. Because what I'll do is, if I can't answer you right away, I'll go back and find the information and give you the most up-to-date information as possible, so that you're really getting this and stuff. Because, yeah, even though I have my fun and say my little things and stuff, it's also good to make sure that I'm giving you the right information so that you can actually use it, because it may save your life by accident, if that makes sense. And stuff, just being in the know and stuff. So dental wise, I'm not going to go over a big old thing, but like I told you about the toothpaste and stuff, and how mouthwash is usually used to not just to make your breath smell good, but it actually is supposed to have some rinsing agents to kind of loosen up plaque, so that when you're brushing, you don't have to brush so hard to get to the other side. And gingivitis is not a thing. If your gums are bleeding, that means you got to brush even more than that, and stuff. If it's 2 times a day and that's not enough and your gums are bleeding, brush 3 times a day, 4 times a day. Keep on amping it up until it heals. When it heals, that gingivitis will not be there, and those swollen gums with all that blood won't be there and stuff. And then other people might have conditions, other illnesses and stuff, and those people, they have to take care of theirs another special way. But for anybody, that just regular good hygiene and stuff will help. So Pastor Mayfield, you said, were you able to clear up the answer regarding urinating on your feet and clear up the athlete's feet? Yes, I did. I put it in the last one inside the comments and everything, but just going over that, because that's a good question and stuff. Just going over that. Some people ask about urinating on your feet. Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna get to that one next. But about urinating on your feet, if you had athlete's feet and stuff, it does not heal it. I looked everywhere for it and stuff to find something and stuff. It said that it may make it feel better because it hurts, and stuff. Once you get that advanced athlete's feet, it burns. It's not just the stinky feet. It burns. It's scaly skin. It splits and stuff, that sting and everything. And it seemed like nothing will fix it and stuff like that. So when you're urinating on your feet to, kind of fix it, it doesn't fix it. It might help make it feel better. That's the only thing it does. So yeah, that was the answer to that question. Now you said Pastor Mayfield said should you use warm salt water to help heal your gums? Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you so much, because I appreciate those type of things and stuff. Yes, warm salt water is not just for what we call gargling, when we have a sore throat and stuff like that. It's actually good for your gums to have that warm salt water and stuff. And your gums are made, your blood is made of salt water, and stuff. I mean salt and water, but it's more saline. But anyway, it's made of that and stuff. So yes, that is really good. It won't heal him, but constant brushing, not brushing the mess out of them. You might want to start with you got any type of gingivitis or gum disease and stuff. You might want to start with a soft brush, not a hard one. A hard one will rip them up and stuff. You got to build your way up to the hard ones and stuff, but a soft one first, and just going in those circular motions. But you got to get your teeth used to it. And after a while, you'll see less and less blood until there's none at all, and no swelling in between the teeth, because it's sneaky. It'll make you think that, I got nice pink gums. No, they're extra red, and they'll bleed for no reason. And then the food and everything and stuff. And then flossing. Now, this is another myth. If you think flossing is just taking them and just going like that, just boom, boom. No, you got to get up in there and go up. Like, you got to take the flosser and go up in there. And you got to go till it doesn't let you go no more and stuff. That's what the dentist wanted to do. That's why it seemed like they so mean, because I was like, why is you doing my teeth like that and stuff? Every time I come here and y'all try to give me a teeth cleaning and stuff, y'all be jacking up my gums and all of that stuff, because they're supposed to get there and I was supposed to do it already and stuff. So I found out by trial and error by being at the actual dentist, and I was like, that's jacked up. But it was actually you supposed to really go up all the way up in here and go to the side and go to the side and stuff like that. You're really supposed to do that and stuff. You get some good waxed floss. You can't just get the cheap kind. You got to get some that costs a couple dollars and stuff once you start getting good at it. And even in crooked teeth, you got to floss, because guess what? Crooked teeth leads to gingivitis, which leads to swollen gums in between the teeth, because they're already crooked. So they're harder to access by the toothbrush and everything. So yes, it's a whole thing to flossing. It's a whole thing to brushing your teeth in a circular motion and stuff. They want you to have all these different things and stuff. So yes, toothbrushing is not for the weak at heart and stuff. And then look at the things that happen if you don't brush your teeth regularly and stuff. Halitosis. That means your breath stinks. And it ain't nothing you can do about it, because now it's embedded into your tongue and stuff. So do you know that cleaning your tongue is a thing? Scraping that so you don't have the white pasty stuff on there and stuff, which leads to all these other things and stuff. It's actually a yeast. And even babies, because they don't brush they gums or whatever and stuff, and they got all that baby milk and stuff, they get this thing called thrush. And that's what you get, as an adult. You could get thrush and stuff. So you actually have to take the toothbrush and go and get everything and stuff. So I know it's actually a thing and stuff. So it's not basic toothbrushing. You got to go all the way in and try to save your teeth. Because guess what? If you ain't got no teeth, the dentures, they might look good. They might be all perfect and straight, but it's a lot of people are not getting dentures that fit in their mouth properly, so they can't macerate the food. You might have a mouthful of teeth and they not doing nothing for you. You might as well pop them out and use your gums, because they start growing so hard that you could actually tear up some meat and corn and everything with just your gums and stuff, because they get tired and played out too, and stuff. So I'm saying all of this to say that you need your teeth, because it's a part of your digestion. You're tearing your gut up because you're not able to break down that steak or break down, that corn and chew all your food. Why you think you got whole pieces of corn because you didn't swallow most of it, and stuff instead of chewing it, and stuff like that. So it's a thing. That's all I'm saying is it's a thing. But also with that is the cavities and different things like that. Um, you're not breaking down your food, so therefore you're having all types of indigestion. I got the stomach flu. No, you don't got the stomach flu. You didn't macerate your food, so your body got to work harder, and so that big old lump is going all the way down through your body into your stomach. It's not breaking down with the acids, and it's not breaking down with the acids. I'll answer that in just a second. And then it's going through your intestine, small intestine, large intestines, and guess what? It gets stuck because it never even got the chance to break down all the way. And then it's called constipation, or what they call a bowel obstruction. It didn't get chewed up anyway. You don't have no teeth. Then you just swallowed it down and made it down in your stomach. And then your stomach tried to break it down and eat at it and stuff, but it couldn't get down. And then it just make its own way on through your gut and tear your gut up. And then you got to take something, all these things to try to make yourself have a poop so that you can get it out. Or it's going to stay there and cause you problem after problem and nausea and all the other things. And it's blocking everything else from getting around it. And yeah, it's special. Pastor Mayfield said, but doesn't it make you lose strength in your face muscles? Actually, no, your muscles need to be strong in your jaws anyway. And a lot of us, including me, and stuff, our muscles is not as strong. They should be long, they should be built up. You eat every day. You might not work out every day and lift weights, but you eat every day and stuff. So you do need that. And you shouldn't get tired of chewing and stuff. If you're getting tired of chewing, that's because you probably don't have enough teeth to break it down fully, and stuff. Because you need to, they call it maceration. You need to rip that food down to the lowest term before it goes down your throat into your esophagus and down into your belly to be broken down further. You want it smaller, and then that bad boy will slip on out when it comes time to doing a number two, having a stool, poo-pooing, boo-booing, whatever you want to call it and stuff. So you see how it makes sense? Because if you don't have this, then it's not going to break down other things, and then it's going to cause other trouble, and stuff like that. So it just keeps going. It just gets better no, it gets worse and worse. But you know what I'm saying and stuff. So then did you know that washing your clothes and your bedding on your beds and stuff is a part of personal hygiene and stuff? We're not talking about everybody, the homeless or something like that and stuff. We know the situation. I'm talking about just us in general and stuff, that washing the kids' covers, and stuff like that, their pillow, their sheet, they pee in the bed, or whatever and stuff when they babies or whatever and stuff, washing their covers and their pillowcases and all their little covers and blankies and all of that stuff, as well as your blankie and your cover and your pillowcases and stuff. You got to wash them, because guess what? Your immune system drop. Oh, I take elderberry and I take lemons and your immune system is going to drop because we sweat while we're asleep. We don't know we sweating. We don't wake up and the pillow's wet all the time or something like that. So guess what? We're putting it back on and doing our little thing and snuggling up in our covers and stuff, getting them musty sometime, or something. I'm sick, so I don't feel like getting out the bed and stuff. So I'm laying up in that bed with all that sickness and stuff. The best thing you could do for yourself if you want to get unsick, you got a cold, you got COVID, you got whatever and stuff, is to wash. Absolutely. I'm going to talk about that in a second. You got to wash your covers, especially after being sick. And so a husband and wife, the husband is sick, but he in the bed, y'all sharing the bed together and stuff. You got to wash all of that. Wash your side and his side, or her side and your side, and stuff like that. You got to wash those clothes. Wash those sheets, wash those covers. It's a such thing as washing your comforter, washing your pillows, and stuff like that. Wash that stuff, you got to. And Antoinette's had a good one because of dead skin cells. Dead skin cells. We sleeping on dead skin cells. We shed. Why you think the vacuum gets so full? You know that's dead skin cells in that vacuum. You think it's dust and all of that. Oh, look at the living room. It's all dirty. No, that's what you bring in from the streets, and stuff like that. So it is good to leave your shoes by the door because you're bringing the streets into there. They spit on the sidewalk. The dogs, they poop and cats pee and your poop and pee in your grass and stuff. Then you walk right in the grass and stuff. Then you come in the house, you bringing all that stuff. Oh, Rosetta Granny said, listen, please. Absolutely. It's all a part of a big crazy circle because I don't want you to be paranoid to the point of never want to go nowhere because you think you're gonna catch it. Because guess what? It's just sitting in the house with you. That's why they got Pine Sol and bleach and all the different little products and stuff like that to clean off the counters and stuff, because we got to do that. But guess what one of the number one things that we need to do to save our lives? Wash our hands with hot soapy water. Hot soapy water will save your lives. And it's probably already saving your life by accident, just because you wash your hands. We're supposed to wash our hands before we eat. We're supposed to wash our hands after we into our hands. We're supposed to wash our hands anytime we're around a sink that we have access to and it's not all disgusting and stuff. That's when you use hand sanitizer. But if the other hand washing, if you're in your car, you should have it with you. If you're at the grocery store, you should have some with you. If you're about to eat in your car after you just got your food, and stuff, and you don't even know if the food people that serve you I got a number 1 and a number 3, and stuff. And guess what? Did they wash their hands? Did you see them? You just assuming they did, right? I'm just saying and stuff. So good hygiene for everybody. I wash my hands because they showed me a film that scared me straight and stuff. So yes, Miss Kathy said before and after going to the bathroom. Antoinette said good hygiene practices keep your hands clean. That's an excellent hygiene practice, is to wash your hands, because you could kill yourself with your dirty hands. I could kill myself. So what? I'm the nurse. I could kill myself with my dirty hands. I go in there and touch one of them patients and whatever they might have, may or may not have and stuff like that. But also washing my hands and then touching them. At least I got the nerves I just came out the other room over here. The least I could do is wash my hands and then leave on out. And then when I walk in their room, I'm not touching your grandmother or your grandfather or your father and your mother, or whatever and stuff, and giving them more poison to work with and work harder for, and stuff. So it's a respect thing, if anything, self-respect. But this is your other champion. And we have a different one in the hospital, but it'll tear us up and we have inflammation hands and different things like that. But also as a nurse and stuff, I don't know if other nurses could have told you this or something like that and stuff, but we can't have the nails, because they said they did a study, and they even at my job, they sent the whole surgical team home because the girls got all the little cute nails and stuff, and I like them, and I've worn them before, but they're usually unsanitary. You got to really know what you're doing. You got to actually be in the know and stuff, as far as knowing how to dip your fingernails inside of not baking soda, peroxide and stuff like that, to get that stuff from under your nails deep down in there. Even when you get the gel coverings and stuff, which I'm going to get some gel covering, but I know that I need to wash my hands a certain way when I get home to make sure that I don't get sick. Because guess what? If it's on there and then I'm touching on my little burger and my little fingers is on there and I'm biting and stuff, guess what I'm introducing to my body? Exactly. So Miss Kathy said nails carry germs. They do. They cute though and stuff. And so Rosie Granny Allen said, teach, Nurse Charlene, teach, amen, Jesus. That's right. Amen. And Jesus teach, because we got to know, because we're going to be ahead of everybody in the whole game. So I didn't get a chance to do one of the things that I wanted to do, and that was I was going to talk about uh pets and human allergies and illnesses. I really have it here and stuff. So I'm going to actually make a part 3 because I think it's important and stuff. And so, and it's nothing to get against pets. I don't have no motivation to destroy pets. And guess what? I'm not just talking about a cat or a dog, the basic animal. I'm talking about you go get that little gerbil for your baby and stuff. They want a little gerbil, a little baby rat, and stuff like that. I'm gonna be talking about the gerbils. I'm gonna be hamsters, or I think that they call them that too and stuff. I'm gonna be talking about fish. Yeah, they in their own little water, and you see that long string of dookie. But anyway, you see that little string of dookie hanging from. so, so I'm gonna be talking about that, but I'm gonna make a part 3. It's not gonna be called personal hygiene. I decided to I'm gonna change it around a little bit, but I want you guys to know that when you're changing that litter box, I know the cat is cute and meow, yeah, and stuff, but yeah, they could give you a little meow too. They're gonna drop you off something and stuff. So it's not to ban cats, it's not to ban dogs, it's not to ban lizards, kimono dragons or something like that. It's not to ban birds. But what is they doing? Ain't they in there dookie and dropping them little like they drop on your car outside, these little hood rat birds and stuff like that and stuff. So I just want you to be in the know, to know that that bird dookie, yeah, they dropped it on your car and they're gonna mess up my paint and stuff. Why is it messing up your paint? Because they got acid and all that stuff in there. So guess what? It can mess you up if you have it as a pet, a bird as a pet and stuff, and it dropped that little stuff down there and stuff, and then you touch that and clean out their little cage and all their little feathers and stuff like that, and then you don't wash your hands and you go fix the tonight's food for everybody, and everybody got diarrhea and stuff like that. Like what's happening? Yes, Kathy, I'm telling you, as long as you're a human being, all this stuff is going to affect you. So if I could talk about the body for the rest of my life, that's what I'm going to do. I got 21 years in this nursing game, 32 years and counting in the healthcare game, period, and stuff like that. So guess what? Before my head explodes, I'm giving it all to y'all. I'm giving everything to you guys and stuff. So stay tuned for next week. I know it's gonna be like a little soap opera and stuff, but I wanna get into so I didn't go over a whole bunch of hygiene things and stuff like that. I did make my board in the back and stuff, but I want to get you guys to the good part and stuff. So I am gonna talk about pets and human allergies and illnesses, that we actually get stuff from that we can actually get salmonella from certain pets, like we get certain things from rodent droppings, which rodent is a hamster, and a gerbil is a part of the rodent family. They look like them. I wouldn't get those, but other people teach his own and stuff. Then you got rabbits, but guess what? They got pet dander and saliva. And it's not good to have you got to stop the dog. I have our dog, rest his soul, and stuff, Lucky and stuff. But he was so happy that I picked him up and put him on my lap. And I'm sitting up here talking and laughing. And I had my braces on at that time. And he licked my braces. I started to pull all my teeth out. I was like, why you tongue kiss me? Why would a dog do that? But that's what they do. They be so excited. They like, oh, we love you. You so pretty, or you so ugly, or whatever. And they lick you right in your face, in your mouth. But guess what? They not like us, human and stuff. So although we treat them human, and that's fine to do and stuff, you got to remember there's a limitation, and stuff. That's why they have their dog bowl and their little stuff and everything. You don't make up your bed and put the dog bed in the bed with you. They got their own little spot. because they not like us, and stuff. And you got your own and stuff. So you see where that makes sense and everything. So I got to talk about it so that we can at least improve. It's just like exercising. You got to change your lifestyle. You got to change your lifestyle with the dog. You can still love them, and they can still be your pet for mental health and everything and stuff like that. But we got to just change up what we're doing and stuff, and make sure we keep their stuff separate because of that problem. So Antoinette said, thanks, cuz, for all the good information that you present every week. Thank you. Thank you. And I try to do whatever I can because I might just save you by accident by giving you this information, or you might save somebody by accident from listening to me. And remember, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene on YouTube and stuff. And it's streaming right now as we speak and stuff. So you can see it from there also and everything. But then Antoinette also said, yeah, I got a house full of pets and birds too, and turtles and dogs. I used to have turtles. We used to have birds, and we had dogs and stuff. We hadn't had cats yet, but in the past I've had cats and stuff like that, and lizards and fish and stuff like that. So that's fine. That's fine. I've did it for years and stuff. It's just we can't mix because the lizards and turtles and stuff, they give us salmonella. And salmonella is like, E. coli and stuff. We can't have it. We'll have diarrhea and all of this stuff. So our bodies can't take it and stuff. They can take it because that's on them and stuff. But that's the difference. That's why I said they're not like us. Not that they're bad or anything and stuff like that. It's just that you got to be cautious so that you stay healthy, so you don't die and then the pet don't have no parent, and stuff like that. So they still get to be your kids and everything and stuff. Hey, Kiki, good coming on and stuff. Good to hear from you, my dear. You said, girl, I was a pet parent for 18 years and I never let my pet sleep with me or be on the furniture or no counter. I wore gloves changing the litter. Oh, so you ahead of the game, Miss Kiki. So if you could hear that, what she said and stuff, that's excellent. Meaning that she said she was a pet parent for 18 years. That's not a mistake. She really parented the pets. My pet, and stuff. I was a pet parent by default, and stuff. I love the young lady that gave me the dog and stuff. But yeah, I never had a dog, so I didn't know how to take care of them. But they got Christmas presents. They got bottled water. He got bottled water and Christmas presents. I washed his doggy bed and all his little covers and all of that stuff. So it is a such thing and stuff. It's just that you got to protect yourself because you're going to get sick and you might not recover from it. We already got COVID. We don't even know it's still around, and stuff. So you can have a house full, Antoinette, and stuff, but as long as you're doing the right practices, I bet you all them turtles and dogs and birds and stuff can't be in the bed with you laying on your pillowcase, and stuff like that. I know it's a limit to what you do and stuff. I would suggest that you would keep the dogs out of your bed and stuff like that because they said that they could get you sick because their dander is not like our skin dander, and stuff. They got a pet dander, and stuff like that for the furry friends and stuff. And this means gerbils, hamsters, whatever you want to call them, hood rats. I don't know, and stuff. It means all of them. And like I said, I don't have a prejudice over any one or the other and stuff. Some I would prefer more than others and stuff, but that's just a preference. But to each his own and everything. And definitely Kiki's comment is ringing true that she said, I never let my pet sleep with me or be on the furniture or on the counters where I cook my food, and I wore gloves when I changed the litter box or probably the pads for the dogs, if they didn't go outside all the time and get walked and stuff like that. And then the other thing is being respectful to human beings outside. When you have a dog, you should carry that bag and stuff and then pick up their poop. Why should you leave it on there? And some people have dogs also. So it's a whole little thing with that, and stuff like that. Kiki says, Charlene, you're crushing. Bless your heart. Yes, great job. Oh my God. It is serious. Kiki is serious. Everybody is serious. I thank you guys. You guys got wonderful comments and questions and everything. And I hope I answered most of them. Don't worry, because if I didn't, or I didn't get to it or something like that, or anything that came along and stuff, don't worry. I go behind after the live is over, and I actually get on there and I answer everything. So if somebody asks a question and you want to know too, go on there and look at the after result and stuff, because that's what I do and stuff like that. But I'm trying to help. I'm trying to get you to help me help you help yourself. Yeah, I said it right and stuff. So I'm trying to get you to help me by asking the questions and giving me information to work on, and then I help you help yourself. So I need you to help me help you help yourself. And then you can help your family members. So if somebody didn't see it, you could get them to watch it. But also you can go back and watch it. If you came in later and stuff, it's okay. I ain't gonna be mad like, oh my God, you didn't watch the beginning and stuff. Just go back and watch the beginning. And actually, truth be told, this time the reason why I'm staying on a little bit longer is because the first 15 minutes I was on there, I read the podcast disclaimer and all of that good stuff, and my mic was somehow muted. I don't even know how and stuff. That's called electronic player hating and stuff like that. But a nice young lady let me know that she couldn't hear me and stuff. And then when I got back on and stuff, she was able to hear me. So I repeated most of it and everything and stuff. But if you didn't catch something and stuff, it's okay. You'll catch it the next time and everything. But I think I did you guys justice for part 2. And remember that next week will be part 3, and we're gonna do our fur babies and our bird friends and our gerbils. They're rabbits. Rabbits are included in this one, and what they give you if you do get caught slipping, and stuff. So this is gonna be good and stuff, and how it gives you flu-like symptoms. So you like, that girl was sneezing in there, she gave me a cold, and it might have been your pet, and stuff like that. So I'm not saying it like it's bad, the pet is bad or nothing like that. I'm saying you just got to be careful, because you only get one of you. If you die, then what happens? Yeah, it just, there ain't no more you and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and end it, you guys. You guys are wonderful. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the interaction, because it pumped me up. And then I'm going to give you more and more. And watch how this thing take off. I'm telling you, we're going to get down. Y'all going to be my little mini moderators and stuff. Y'all going to come in and we're going to suggest something and stuff. And we're going to get down and stuff. We're going to play games on here. Not with everything, because if I'm talking about cancer or something like that and stuff, it got to be a little more serious. But just know that when I'm talking about cancer, I ain't gonna be hee ha ha. I'm gonna give it to you, and stuff. If I'm talking about something that's life threatening to you and stuff, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm coming on with and I'm not sure when exactly, but I'm coming on soon with the fentanyl crisis, and stuff, and how you see everybody contortion off like an acrobat and stuff like that. So I got all this stuff coming to you, and stuff like that. And it's for the purposes of getting you to the other side, and stuff like that. Pastor Mayfield said, I can hear you now. I know it was at the beginning when I did all the intro and stuff. I guess it was on some type of mute or something like that. It was crazy and stuff. So definitely. Oh, wow. So I know I'm ending it, but wait, I this is some good stuff, and you guys can benefit from hearing it and stuff. Kiki said, that has also happened. I had Algiers from my pet. Oh, see, I'm gonna need a testimony. I hope that you could get on next week with me when I'm talking about pets and everything and stuff. But that would be wonderful to to explain that and everything and stuff. And then I'll definitely look it up. You know, I'm gonna look it up, Kiki. But yes, that part. So just seeing things like that and stuff, and then we get to discuss it. And then I'm the human encyclopedia and stuff. Thank you, Sonya. You said good job and stuff. I appreciate that. And what else? Wait. Pastor Mayfield, you said, oh, I can hear you now. Oh, I thought you said you can't hear me. I was like, no, what happened? And stuff. Okay. And stuff. I'm gonna get better and stuff. But yeah, I saw my mic was off. So I just unplugged it and plugged it back in, and then everything was good and stuff. But yeah, it happens. It's, I guess, technical difficulties. It better stop though. But anyway, yes, and stuff. Okay, Kiki said, okay, I will support you. You are so wonderful. I appreciate that and stuff. And all my hitters that's on here and stuff. You guys, y'all make it what it is. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. Antoinette said, thank you, cuz good information. I hope to have good information because I don't want it to be the basic. This is blood pressure. This is your brain on blood pressure. This is depression, you know, and stuff. I want to get some good stuff going and stuff. Why we be stressing, why we not coping, why we're not, you know, and stuff like that. I want to just keep it going like that and stuff so that we have real down to earth talks and stuff. And this is us and our testimonials. Our testimonials are everything. So Kiki, when you said that about Algiers from a pet and stuff like that, that type of stuff, to know that I'm not just sitting up there trying to shoot down a cat or a dog or something, a horse or pony, you know, and stuff that we're talking about. Yes, but that's why they're outside or in a stable, you know, or some, or in a kennel or something like that, whereas we're in our bed, you know, and stuff like that and stuff. And why we don't mix foods, because guess what? When we give the dogs too much human food, it starts breaking down their liver because they get sick like us. We ain't even supposed to be eating half the stuff we eating, and then we give it to the dog, and they're not like us. So they break down faster. Next thing you know, you got a vet bill for $10,000 and stuff because your dog got to have surgery because they go into failure of something, you know, or have some type of gastrointestinal problems because they're not supposed to be eating the same thing we're not supposed to be eating. You know, if you give a dog chocolate or something like that. So if you can understand that, you can understand where I'm going with this and everything. So I thank you guys again for coming on and stuff. We're going to try to keep it lighthearted and fun loving. But if you got testimonials and you're not scared to present them, present them. Live your truth, because we are what we do. And yeah, look. I'm going to put her in the commercial. Antoinette said, I love your body is a snitch. Yes, your body is a snitch. Believe it. And I'll be having some information on that coming soon and everything. And don't ignore your body's signals. You're not getting a headache for nothing. You're not itching for nothing. You're not burning or stinging somewhere for nothing. Even if you got a hangnail is not a natural thing. You're not supposed to have a hangnail. That's probably your skin being dry. So you see how everything got a clue to it, you know, and stuff like that. So your feet is not stinky for nothing. You're not musty for nothing, you know, and stuff. There's things that happen, you know, and stuff like bathing, you know, and stuff, and deodorants and stuff like that. So all of this stuff, your body is your first snitch, the best snitch you'll ever have, you know. Not the snitches get stitches, the snitches get to live, you know, and stuff like that. And it shows you signs and wonders, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm saying all of this to say I thank you guys. I thank you for all the participation. You can even keep the comments coming after the live and stuff. I stayed on a little bit extra again because in the beginning my mic was off and everything and stuff. So that's why I'm on a little bit later than I normally am on. But I thank you all. I send my love to you and stuff, and I appreciate you. And thank you for coming on and choosing yourself first to get some education so that you can save somebody by accident.
God bless you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.